Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Floss. I'm back again doing another video, and today we're going to do the real review of the HTC Evo Shift. Alright, now if you never seen my channel before, when I say the real review, I mean I don't work for none of these companies. I don't get paid to do none of this shit. This is just a straight up real review from a real dude, real hands-on, you know what I'm saying? If I tell you the shit is whack, the shit is whack. If the shit is hot, the shit is hot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're welcome to make your own choice, but I'm just letting you know that there's no motive for me to tell you that something is hot if it's really not. Because if you check some of my other videos, like the Samsung Galaxy Tab, I don't care what nobody said, that shit is whack. All right? So that's my intro right now. All right, now before I get into this Evo Shift, the main question that a lot of people want to know is, what's the difference between the HTC Evo and the HTC Evo Shift? All right? So let's take a look and see what's the main difference. All right, you got an HTC Evo right here, and you got an HTC Evo Shift. So just by looking at them, you can see the difference is the size. All right, the HTC Evo is 4.3 inches on the screen. The Evo Shift is 3.6 inches on the screen. So right off the top, that's a major difference that you could just look at and see. As far as thickness, they're almost about the same width, but you got to remember on the Evo Shift you have the slide out keypad. All right, so that's another difference right there. On the Evo, no slide out keypad, the whole phone is touchscreen. On the Evo Shift, you got the slide out keypad. Okay, the next difference that we have on the Evo Shift, if you look at the back of the phone, you notice that there's no kickstand, and the flash only has a single LED flash. If you look at the back of the Evo, you'll notice that you have the kickstand and you have a dual LED flash. Okay, so that's another difference right there. One LED flash, two LED flash. Okay, what's another difference? If you look at the Evo, you have the front facing camera. Okay, on the Evo Shift, no front facing camera. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now there's a few other technical differences. Like if you look at it closely, when you buy the Evo Shift, the memory card is a 2 gig memory card. If you buy the Evo, you get the 8 gig memory card. Okay, so basically, to wrap that all up, what's the difference? Basically, when you buy the Evo Shift, instead of buying the Evo, if you want to save a couple of dollars and you say, okay, I'm gonna go and buy an Evo Shift, basically you're getting the keypad on your phone, but you're losing the front facing camera, which is not a big deal. I mean, everybody's different, but for me it's not a big deal. I mean, I don't think I ever used a front facing camera on any of these phones yet. You're losing one of the LED on the flash, again, not a big deal. You're getting a 2 gig memory card instead of 8, again, not a big deal, because you could just go out and buy one of those. It's mad cheap nowadays. Other than that, as far as the software, these phones are pretty much identical. Now, as far as the speed goes, I was surprised, because if you watch some of the tech reviews, they'll tell you that the processor on the Evo is a little bit better than the processor on the Shift, but these phones are running identical speed, and some of the tests I did, the Evo Shift actually was faster. And when you turn the Evo Shift off and turn it back on, it comes on way faster than the Evo. The phone powers up less than a minute. So if you're walking around with 2 batteries and you got to change a battery, it's nothing like a BlackBerry, nothing like a lot of these other phones that you turn them on and take 4 minutes to turn on. This phone powers right up. And also, I did a test. The battery from this Evo fits in the Evo Shift. So how does that affect me? When I bought the Evo, I bought a few batteries. I bought a couple of extended life batteries. I bought the the thick one that you have to change the back, and I also bought a 1700 milliamp that's thin. So I took that battery and slapped it right up in the Evo Shift, and basically, if you look at my battery, it's still on full, and that's from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Battery's still on full. All right, so that's a good look. Now let's look at the hardware on the Evo Shift. Okay, basically we're done with the comparison, so you already know the difference between each one. Little subtle differences, not too much difference. All right, so don't get too wrapped up in what's the difference. Like if you want a keyboard and you get this instead of getting the Evo, it's not like you're taking a big step down. If you want to go and get an Evo but you want a keypad, get the Evo Shift. Trust me, you're not taking a step down. It's running almost exactly the same. Now, if you're in the market for a slider phone and you're torn between getting the Evo Shift and the Samsung Epic, Trust me, I'm gonna tell you, go with the Evo Shift. The Samsung Epic is trash compared to the Evo Shift. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it doesn't stack up to me. I mean, even though this Epic has a front-facing camera and, you know, has a little more internal memory and all of that, look at the quality though. All right, let's look at the quality of the phone. You see, this is a slider phone. I'm not basically even moving my fingers, and the phone is just sliding apart. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, I hate that cheap feeling of when I'm using a slider phone. If I'm using it in one hand, it keeps sliding, like part of the phone is open. When you're just holding it to do something, it's already opening. When you use the Evo Shift, you're not gonna have that problem. Trust me. This is one of the most sturdiest phones that I ever held that has a slider out of all of the phones that I used before. This is like the most sturdiest slider phone that I ever used yet. If somebody just hands you this phone and they don't tell you it's a slider, you ain't even gonna know it's a slider. You know, you have to physically slide this phone up, all right? When you're holding this phone in your hand, there ain't no accidental sliding. When it's in your pocket, it's not gonna be shifting back and forth. This phone is sturdy. The quality of this phone on the 1 to 10, I'm giving a straight up 10. This phone is almost identical to the HTC Touch Pro 2 as far as the way you hold the phone. It feels solid. It feels like a good phone. It feels like if you drop it, nothing's gonna happen to it. I mean, you can't go wrong with the quality of this compared to the Epic. Nah, I'm gonna go with the Evo Shift. Now let's take a look at some of the features on the Evo Shift. Basically, if you ever had an Evo or you ever watched any Evo videos, there's no real reason for me to go too deep into all of the software on it because it's exactly the same. All right, the same customizable screens. You know, you just slide back and forth. The same pinch in and you get all your home screens, and you could just take you directly to which screen you want, or you could press home and go right back to the beginning. Same weather animations that come up nice and clear. When you turn the phone off and you turn it back on, you get that same flip clock, you get the same clouds and stuff. I mean, everything is pretty much identical. The notification bar at the top, exactly the same. All right, some of the icons I have on there, if you notice, you know, I always keep my Foursquare, my Facebook, my Twitter, all of my communication websites, basically, they always up and running. And this multitask, just like the Evo, 100%. You know, the YouTube, let's take a look at the YouTube on it, because that's one of the keys to this phone is the YouTube app. You can't beat it. All right, it's exactly like the Evo. When you're watching a YouTube, it loads up fast, the videos play crystal clear, the sound is great. Let's take a look. Let me see. All right, so if you can see that, the volume is loud. There's no kickstand to watch the movies, but you know, whatever. So the YouTube app works great. All of the software is identical. All of the applications that you could put on your Evo, you could put on your Evo Shift. You see I have my Viper Smart Start. I can start the car from here if I want. I mean, my calendar is the same. You know, it shows you if you have, I have a couple of meetings set up. Shows you who birthday it is. If you got it linked with your Facebook. Got the weather on the bottom. I mean, no real reason for me to go through all of these apps because they're pretty much the same. Everything is custom. You know, you could customize it the way you want. I can add a widget if I wanted to. I can add applications, take them directly to my screen. You know, I add something. If I don't like it, take it back off. All right. So you see I got my Google TV remote. Now, if you don't know what that is, you better take a look at one of those Google TV remote videos. But the remote on this works just as good as it works in the Evo. It's just that the screen is a little bit smaller, but still works the same. Everything is running smooth on this phone. On a scale of 1 to 10, after I had it for a whole night of playing with it, yesterday I gave it a 9, but ever since I added the slim battery, now you see the battery life is up there. I got a little more used to the slider part without having to keep on hitting the volume button. I'm giving this phone a solid 10. I'm slapping it down with the flossy seal of approval. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this Evo Shift is gonna be the end of this Samsung Epic. And if you follow Sprint on Twitter, you'll notice today they just dropped the price on the Samsung Epic. Wonder why. This Epic is still running the 2.1 software. Everybody's like, oh, you know, we got to get the update, and you see they already got the 2.3 Gingerbread ready to hit the market. Epic's still on 2.1. I mean, this phone is a washout. All right. If you're in the market to get a slider phone, trust me, you want to go with this HTC Evo Shift. Now, a lot of people are going to say, which one would you rather get? Would you rather get the Evo or the Evo Shift? That all depends. You know what I'm saying? If you really need a touch screen and you really need a keyboard, then you can't go wrong with the Evo Shift. Now, me personally, I don't need the keyboard that much, because all of my text messages are basically where you at, what time you come in, you know, where you gonna meet me at, what you doing. The little shits like that, you know, it's not really mandatory for me to get a keyboard. You know what I mean? And if I'm having a real conversation, I'm using my BlackBerry anyway. So if you're just looking for a fun phone and an Android phone, and you need to decide between the Evo Shift and the Evo, I can't call it. You know what I'm saying? They both attend to me. The Evo, the battery drains a lot faster, but you get the extended life battery and you're good to go. The Evo Shift, the battery life is a little bit better, but it still drains, and you get extended battery with this one, you're good to go. So it's basically a toss-up, whatever one you like better. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, though, if I had to choose, I'm always going to go with the Evo, because I really haven't seen nothing better than this phone yet. You know what I'm saying? This is the second best, but as far as Sprint goes, this is the first best phone you could get from Sprint, the Evo. The second best will be the Evo Shift, and then after that, the Epic and the LG Optimus and all those other phones. Then you fall down the line. The reason I didn't add the BlackBerry into that equation is because the BlackBerry is not really a fun phone. You know, the BlackBerry is more like a business phone, because the web browsing and all that, it's not that great on the BlackBerry, but battery lasts forever and your email is going to come through like that. So the BlackBerry is in a separate league of its own. You know what I'm saying? If you're just looking for a fun phone, a fun Android phone, and you want to know which one to go with, trust me, go with the Evo Shift if you want to save a couple of dollars. But if you just want to be the man on your block and you want the top of the line phone from Sprint, go get the HTC Evo. All right? Like I said, you can go take a look at this Palm Pre. You see how you hold it like this? You see how you could just slide it up and down? Sometimes you drop it on the table too much, it'll just pop open. Or you hold it in your hand, you know, it just opens up. I hate that. I don't know about you, but I hate that. Same thing on this Epic. I hate when I'm holding a slider phone and my thumb hits it and it moves. I can't stand that. When you get your hands on this HTC Evo Shift, you're not going to have that problem. There's going to be no movement at all. Okay? So on a 1 to 10, straight up 10, I slammed it down already. I slam it again. Seal of approval, all right? And before I get out of here, I just want to say thanks to everybody watching the videos and all that. Shout out to all my dudes. And I just want to answer 2 questions real quick for people that have been hitting me up, all right? The first question is, a lot of people ask me, you know, why do I do this? You know, what am I getting out of doing this? And basically the answer is, I'm not getting nothing out of doing it. I'm doing it basically for fun. And there's a short story behind why I started doing these videos, all right? But now, a couple of years ago, I've always been the type to have 3 or 4 phones at a time. All right, so at one particular time, I had a Nextel, I had a Trio 600, I had a Samsung PDA, and the Sprint Touch. So you could go look it just for fun. If you never heard of those, go Google those and see what they are. Some old school shits. Now I dropped my Samsung PDA, my Sanyo PDA. I dropped it, and I was like, all right, I got to get a new phone. So I went on YouTube and I went to go look at the new phones that's out. So I watched the video for the HTC Mogul. And the dude on the video had the Mogul in his hand, and he was like, oh, this is the best phone ever, this and that, this and that. Meanwhile, I was new to the YouTube game. I didn't know. So I just said, okay, that got to be the new shit. Let me go get that. I went and got it, and trust me, I was so disappointed. I was like, I can't believe, you know, why would somebody make a video saying the phone is this great and all that, and then when you get it, the phone ain't shit, and everybody I know who had the phone was like, they hate it. The phone is mad whack. And if you ever had the HTC Mogul, you'll know that phone was freezing. That phone was straight trash. And I remember saying to myself, you know what, next time I go and buy a phone, a new shit, I'm gonna do my own review on it. And this way, the people that, because everybody knows I always been the type of dude that when the new phone come out, I always had it. Ever since, I don't know, 91, 92. You know what I'm saying? It's always been like that. So I said, I'm gonna make my own channel specifically for my boys. I'm not trying to get subscribers and views and try to get my own show and all that. I said, I'm gonna just basically do this for my dudes. So this way, you know, because a lot of my dudes, I'm all over the place in all the states. So I said this way, instead of having to make a big deal about it, I'll get some shit, I'll do a real review on it so they know that, because everybody knows I'm keeping it real. And I just moving from like that. And that's basically how I started doing this shit. And basically a lot of people been hitting me up like they like the videos and all that, so asked me to keep doing them. So I keep doing them. I mean, I don't get nothing out of this but personal satisfaction. All right. And before I go, the last question that somebody asked me is, out of all the Sprint phones I had, what was my favorite Sprint phone of all time? And basically, my favorite Sprint phone of all time, I had to write the name down because I forgot what it was, but back in the day, there was two phones I had that specifically stand out. First was the, now you could Google this too and get a picture of it yourself, the Sanyo SCP-5300. All right. Now, what was special about that phone to me? That was actually the first phone that Sprint came out that had a camera, a flash. I mean, back in the day when your phone had a camera on it, that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Before that, we never had no cameras on the phones. So when that phone came out, I was like, yo, this, technology is going in a whole nother direction now. And now you don't got to walk around with a camera anymore. You could basically take a picture of something and just send it to your peoples right there on the spot. So that was like a game-changing phone right there. But, that's my number 2 phone. But my number 1 phone out of all time would be the Sanyo PM8200. All right, Google that one too, the Sanyo PM8200. It was a blue phone. It was a flip phone, but at that time it was like the top of the line joint. It had the video camera on it. It had the push to talk, similar like to how the Nextel. You had the flash. You had the flashlight on it. You had the fun frames with the camera. I mean, that phone had the outside speakerphone. That phone really changed the whole direction the way the phones was going. So, if you ask me, out of all these phones I had with Sprint over the last 10 years, my favorite phone was the Sanyo PM8200. All right, and that's it. I'm done talking. All right, it's your boy Floss. Thanks for watching the video. I'm out. Deuces.